And did everybody get squared away with ice cream and everybody got what they deserved? And thank you for doing that.
That's great.
I had never followed up after we had that combination of a couple classes to make sure everybody.
That was perfect. I thought we were short, so I went and bought another box.
Yeah.
There was a box down there. So we were short of it.
Oh, okay.
So ask Brian what he's been having for lunch for the past 2 weeks.
Can you hear us okay, Don?
No, you won't see my face much, which is a good thing, because I need to hold you up to my ear so I can hear you good.
We gotta get you some earbuds.
Yeah, we get to see your ear then.
There you go.
You keep a clean ear, Don.
I took a shower and cleaned my ears, so hey, I'm acceptable.
Yeah, I'll read it. Oh, okay.
That's not good.
Oh, I don't know about this. I thought it was Dean Blair.
What resignation? Oh, March.
No. I thought you were talking. Okay.
You confused me there. Ken, for some reason. Yeah, you take, you cross up Kelly.
Just enough.
All right, I am going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:32 p.m.
Leanne,
Yes.
Buddy Gordon.
Yep.
Bev Evans. Here. Don Baker.
Here,
Brad Dusendorf.
Eric.
Josh Shannon.
Present.
You could stand and say the pledge of allegiance. Donnie, I'm gonna let you lead.
you know I'm going to mess it up, Tim.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Seeing that we have no one to present or address the board, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 11th, 2021 meeting and the work session of January 25th, 2021. Bev?
A second.
Thanks, Josh. Any questions on the meeting minutes for either of those? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Administrators' reports were sent via email, and there is a copy here for anyone who wishes. Ms. Ostrander with financial reports.
So in your packet are the results for the RFP for the auditing firm. We only received one, which is our current auditor. I thought the results were fair. I don't know if any of you remember what the results were the past 5 years, but if you were to look back, it does seem like it's quite a bit higher, but the ones that were submitted the last 5 years did not include a single audit. So what bumps us into a single audit is the number of grants that we have. So since we're higher, now we're requested to get a single audit. So I thought that they were fair. Like I said, we only received one back, which I'm happy with, staying with our current auditor. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is the tax levy. I know it's pretty early in our budgeting process, but the tax cap is due March 1st. So I didn't know if you guys had a strong feeling on which way you wanted to go, if you wanted to kind of shoot for the 0.9% increase like we have for the last few years, or if you guys had a preference on that. I ran some preliminary numbers. We are eligible to go up to 2.88%, which is just about 87,000. I wouldn't want to go that high, but
Right.
that is what our cap is right now.
I guess the question I have is, can we do what we want to do and continue to build a program, or at least maintain the program we have at 0.9?
That's what I'm hoping for. Like I said, I don't really know because we don't have the numbers from the state, but that's what I would like to shoot at. But I wasn't sure if you guys had a strong preference.
Definitely being shooting for that or lower, but.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, I don't want to go.
Yeah, for a lot of people.
I don't want to go zero because that's just going to kill us down the road.
Yeah,
Right.
But like Buddy says, it's keeping it as low as we possibly can.
Okay.
yeah, but
Okay,
without hurting program or the students.
okay. That's good. That gives me a good direction.
I'm not sure what feedback and you've gotten in the past when we've done, we typically communicate, our maximum allowable levy is 2.88, but the district has gone at 0.9.
I have never heard anybody say, well, you know, you're raising it, but you're showing all this excess or surplus and the fund balance and that. Why don't we go to zero? I haven't ever heard that. Not me personally. Maybe some others have. But,
Well, hopefully we do a good job explaining
Yeah.
it too, so.
I mean, they see other schools going to zero, and then when you explain, well, they're gonna pay for that in a year or two down the
Right.
road. That's why we keep it kind of at that threshold of just under 1%.
And in dollar amounts, it's just over 27,000.
Yeah.
So it's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
So, okay. That's good. Gives me a general idea. That's all I have.
Okay. I need a motion and second to approve the treasurer's reports. Bud,
Second.
thanks, Don. Any questions on the treasurer's reports? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Need a motion to approve the warrant reports.
So moved.
Josh? Okay, I got Fred. I saw the hand before yes. Any questions on the warrant reports?
Aaron already answered.
Beautiful. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to award the auditing bid to Bufamonte Whipple, but borrow of Olean in the amount of $94,000 for a 5-year period. Bev? Second. Brett, thank you. Questions on that Aaron hasn't already answered? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the BOCES unit cost methodology for the 21-22 school year. Bud? Second. Bev, thank you. Questions?
Wait, I read this doesn't mean really anything, right?
I guess what is their methodology?
It's really just, I don't even know because it doesn't even have amounts on it.
Well, that's when I read into it, it says you're not signing anything,
Yeah, it's really
just to give
just,
them an idea. Kind of
Yeah.
like you asking about 0.9 or.
right?
What do you feel about that? That's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. If there are no other questions and we understand what the methodology is, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda and action items. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of 5 different things. The public school fire safety non-conformance report, excise ban music and equipment, an updated lifeguard list, the appointment of Brooke Brott, Megan Rechlis, Caitlin McEwen, Reagan Ryan, and Darren Brott as chaperone scorekeepers, and the approval of volunteers Ron Northseth of Horn, Doug Walsh, and Tyler Landry for basketball. Bev? Do I have a second? Josh, thank you. Any questions on that?
Wait a second.
Okay.
On the public school fire safety compliance, I read through that and I got it right here. I guess I couldn't understand the writing.
It's a long conversation. Basically, it means when they go through and they do the actual inspections.
Mhm.
It could be, and again, depending on the instance, most of the things we're fine on. It could be whether they found a paper on the,
That's the door.
on the
That's
floor.
what that says in that wall.
Yeah, there's a paper that's hanging in the wrong spot, and so,
All right.
so
I couldn't
I'd
read
have to
it.
pull the whole report up and figure out which one specifically you're talking about, so that's a long conversation. Generally, what they do is they come through, they walk through the building and they cite all the things they find, and then we have 30 days to fix it. And so, then we bring this report to you every year, you approve to saying that here was the initial inspection, and that the district did what it's supposed to do and followed up, so that the school's not gonna learn. That's it.
All right, I'm just double checking that.
Yeah, I saw the chicken scratch and I kind of figured,
You're reading through what those are, typically the inspector's notes.
Yeah.
And or Chris Chamberlain's signature as to when he checked
he
off.
fixed it.
No, they're fixed. So that's really what you're seeing.
The second one is the excise band music. I see in the end, we're sending it back to the music alley or whatever, Dansville. But what about the first part of that, with all that?
Goes to BOCES. So BOCES started,
Instruments or?
No,
no, that's just sheet music.
Oh, okay, actually, I was like, that's a weird instrument.
We started, I don't know, Brian, what was it, 4 years ago, 5 years ago now? We started a regional BOCES music library. And what the goal was what was happening was districts were purchasing the same types of music. And then it was sitting in a file cabinet, they used it for years and years. And so what this time frame, what we've asked our music teachers to do is go through the music they're not using. We donated basically to the BOCES to the library, and so that anyone else can sign it back out, and they have access to it, and then it will also leave our filing cabinets and go. They store it over here, St. Bonaventure.
I just had, I mean, that's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it's sheet music.
Anything else through that?
How's the winter sports coming along?
Well, we started modified today. We had 15 boys for basketball, and there were 8 girls I counted that were participating today. And then they had practices last week for varsity and JV basketball and varsity girls basketball.
Good. When's their first game?
This week, I think Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, this Wednesday night. So we have a online system that everyone will be able to log into and watch the games remotely. There's a setup process that we're going through right now to make sure that there's no fee to any of our district residents. If they have to log in, that price is covered by the district, so they can get access to that. So something we're working on today to make sure that was taken care of and covered.
So the winter sports will be basically the month of February, then spring sports will start in March?
Well, what it is right now is the winter sports season ends March 6th, the regular season, and then March 15th is when sectionals end by. There's no state
Okay.
championships, and so the following, I think it's Monday the 19th, is when actually I take it back, March 1st, the fall 2 season starts, which is football. For us, it's volleyball. And
Okay.
push cheerleading to that as well. And right now, we're planning on merging our cheerleading team with Belfast. And so it would be just volleyball here if we have enough girls interested in participating. And then that season goes until April 19th. And that's basically when the spring sports season officially starts. They can start practicing again, I believe, on the 1st of April for spring. And then they just canceled this week, or late last week, they canceled the state championships for spring sports.
Okay.
Which is too bad.
All right. I guess I better get my volunteer application in
Yes,
ASAP.
we'll need that via email. And then all of you as board members because you are board members, are already volunteers basically anyway. So when that comes to, if you need to come and evaluate our programs during contests, you're certainly able to do so from the track. So
Okay.
something that needs to happen, you're able to do so.
All right.
Yeah,
Great.
Possibilities of being a board member is certainly being visible and monitoring the programs that we have here. So.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to personnel action items. Need a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the GBEA for for educational reimbursement. This was the one contract that was in the packet for Eric to hire Scott, gaining certification in building leadership. Buddy? Second? Josh? Any questions on that? It was a 5-year commitment, right? Was it 5? Yeah.
It was exactly the same.
In the past.
Trying to be consistent. Yep. Not necessarily Aaron, but.
A little more.
A little more than that. Other ones that.
Forever.
Yes, she's 5 year.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
It is 5 years, I just looked.
Thank you.
Approve the memorandum of agreement with the CSEA for a 1-year contract extension. But second by Bev. Any questions on that? Any issues with the way it was worded? I know it was all sent to everybody. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the substitutes. Brooks Sites, Wellsville non-certified substitute teacher, Chelsea George is an aide, Kevin Hand is a substitute cleaner, and Cody Schneider is a substitute cleaner. Ready? I'm going to abstain from this one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? 5 yes. 1 abstention. I need a motion to appoint the 2021 school year coaches, and basically it's all the spring coaches that have not already been appointed.
Make motion.
Josh,
Second.
Don? Questions about the coaching? All those in
How'd you
favor?
talk Lentz into taking tennis?
We heard that he may have a coach in his back pocket that may be able to help him.
Okay, that's what I figured, but I was curious.
The conversation went something along the lines, do you think Donnie will mind if and I said, I think Pam said to him, I think Donnie will be happy to do it with you. So, in fact, or at least coach them, is what the words maybe Pam used to him. We're
Now,
excited.
as you said, Brian, that starts the 1st of April?
Don't quote me on that, Don.
April 19th.
It's April 19th.
April 19th.
Is when their practice
Oh.
officially start. I gotta check and see, because I know the spring season starts the 19th. I'm not sure if they can start practicing the 1st. Similar
Oh.
to what,
I got you.
because there's overlap between the seasons now, because they can be on
Yeah.
multiple teams between multiple seasons. That's why I said, I think it's April 1st, but the kids who are playing volleyball
Right.
would still
Right.
continue.
Okay,
So sometime in April, Don, and I will get you the date. Let's put it that way.
all right. Well, I'll be home the 27th of March, so.
Oh, great.
Beautiful. Any other
Good.
questions on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We need to amend a motion for Lyndon Van Cassel's resignation due to retirement. Apparently, there was 2 different dates on 2 different documents, so we need to amend it to the actual date of June 25th, 2020. Bud? Second, Fred? Can you explain that a little bit,
So
just so they're aware?
you basically explained it, and it basically impacts his retirement.
Okay,
So by those 5 additional days has an impact on his retirement. When he submitted his initial letter, it was June 30th. When he submitted his second letter, it was the 25th, and we put the 30th down by mistake. So that's really was the reasoning behind it. And then he was having conversations with asking, because there was a discrepancy of what he was quoted versus what he was getting.
Yeah.
And they explained that's the reason why.
Yeah.
So that's why we're asking. You get the team calls and said, can you amend this back? And showed it, and we said,
So this will be to his favor instead of detriment.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't be doing it.
I wouldn't be, we wouldn't be bringing this to you if it was to his detriment. I can assure you of that. We are going into negotiations.
There you go, you bring a contract with him. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to appoint after-school supervision monitors. That'd be Tori Rounds, Pam Winterhalter, and then we have a substitute, which would be Bridget Makeley, who is also
And Stacy.
Huh?
And Stacy Higby.
and Stacy Higby. So 2 substitutes, 2 primary supervisors for the after-school program.
So moved.
Yeah, you as a second, Donnie,
Okay.
but beat you to it by a split second.
Yeah.
It's the lag, the delay.
No, even if I was present, quick draw would beat me to it.
Any questions on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Going into information and discussion, just so you're all aware, we did get Dean's resignation today, so we'll address that at the March meeting, but so you're aware, Dean did send his resignation in from the board, being that he moved out of district.
So we have, our regular board meeting is in March 15th. We have our budget work session on the 29th. Aaron and I are optimistic that we will have numbers for you, but we know on our end, we'll have numbers as far as what the state budget looks like. We'll be in a position. We're currently having conversations, requisitions were due to Aaron. We're in the process of going through those right now. The principals are working to evaluate those requisitions. We're looking at our staffing. We're having conversations about staffing. You'll probably notice that there was the anticipated openings for our director of special education, and then the birth to 2 teacher, pre-K teacher, and an elementary pre-K teacher. Those are all anticipated openings that are budget dependent for the budget passing as we go forward. But like always, we'd like to get going because we recognize that the best candidates are out there right now, and try to be going through that process so that you could actually be appointing those individuals the Wednesday after the budget vote is our goal. April 20th, just note that is a Tuesday, and that's the annual meeting where we adopt our budget as well as we vote on the BOCES budget at that point. Pam's got the Board of Education retreat on here. We unfortunately got closed out at the Inlet Lake in Canandaigua and at Glenora. Both places were booked already. So I tentatively have us booked at the Bellhurst Castle in Geneva. And I proposed that to Tim, and I was curious if you guys thought that Geneva was too far for you, or you would be okay to go there. We have 19 rooms that are tentatively reserved right there. We have a really nice space within the castle that we would be able to meet and use as a meeting grounds, and then have our retreat there for the 2 days. If it's, I think it's about 30 miles from Watkins Glen up to Geneva.
Yeah.
It was a little bit farther from what you're
You're
used to.
looking at about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
Somewhere in there. So what I asked him, and he said to bring it to you to see if anyone had strong objections to doing that, or if you'd like me to look someplace a little bit closer.
As long as I get a ride.
We'll get you a ride, Beth. That's never a problem. We can figure that out as we go forward. Don, any preferences? Are you good with that?
It sounds fine.
All right, great. We will continue to proceed and plan on that accordingly. We have been, Aaron and myself, certainly a number of our staff have been writing 3 new grants right now. One is the RFP came out for the extension of the school aid, the extended school aid grant, our after school program. This is the last year of the 5 years that we had that grant for, so we're in the process of applying for that again. we're applying for a grant, it's titled Generator Z, excuse me. And that is through the Ralph Wilson Foundation. And the goal of this grant is to actually enhance our extended school day program with the formation of an adventure club, where we would have opportunities for kids to do hiking, camping, skiing, snowshoeing, and then they would purchase some equipment for kayaks for some kayaking down the Genesee River. And so transportation and storage of those as well. So we're looking at that grant. That's, I think, going to end up being right around a $60,000 or $70,000 grant. The extended school day grant is significantly more than that. I think the last one was just over $1 million, if I'm not mistaken. So it's again a 5-year grant, about $212,000 a year, I think is the preliminary numbers we're looking at right now. And then there's a third grant called a full service community school grant. We applied for this grant 2 years ago in partnership with Wellsville, and we were not successful. And so the goal for this grant is to really continue the work we've been doing, helping our staff become more trauma informed. It also it brings staff into each campus, Wellsville campus and our campus, to have we're titling a crisis intervention specialist. So somebody who's available to help with kids who are really struggling with a variety of pieces, just more readily available. Because as we know, our counselors and our social worker are incredibly busy, particularly when kids are on campus all the time. So it's another body. And then it would actually go into the extended school day. So we would have someone who would be there to actually help run circles and do support groups and really help to engage our kids more. We're anticipating, particularly what's been going on in the last year, a significant increase in mental health needs and the supports for our kids, trying to really support them to the best of our abilities as we go. So I just want to make you aware that's some of the things that, in addition to the budget and our typical daily operations, trying to move forward. The cafeteria project is moving forward slowly. We're hoping that the electricians will finish their work this week, and then we'll be able to re-pour concrete around the new drains and the floor electric that we put in the cafeteria. We're optimistic that the majority of the work will be done by the middle of March. So that's kind of the timeline we have right now for possibly bringing more students back to school. We'd like to have the cafeteria space available to us as we try to open up our spaces. Slowly when we bring more students back, and again, the conversations we're having right now are grades 1 through 8, to be able to transition somewhat more within the building. But until the CDC relaxes their guidelines, we still have to follow the 6-foot rule and the mask rule. So I'm starting to read more over the weekend about people starting to have those conversations about relaxing. So for example, if they reduce the 6-foot rule from 6 foot to 3 feet, that gives us a lot more space in our classrooms.
Would it even free up enough space where we could bring the high school?
I don't want to commit to that, but it's certainly something we're having.
We have to look at.
Absolutely. And we're evaluating every opportunity we can to get our kids back here,
Mhm.
all of our kids back here. It's just a matter of, can we do it safely, and can we do it within the guidelines that we have to follow? So I responded, and the principals responded to a number of situations. We had nearly 70 students quarantined last week, and we had about 12 staff members who were quarantined as a function of positive tests. And we're going to continue to err on the side of caution and try to keep people safe and work with them remotely as we have to. And then hopefully as more and more people get vaccinated and we see that threshold start to rise. Probably frank, I was disheartened when I started hearing some of the news this week about, like, Governor Cuomo spoke today that at the current rate we're going, it's going to take a year for us to get to the threshold. And so something's got to give. And so I'm optimistic that we're going to have more vaccines available. We'll be able to increase the rate and have a full. Our goal, obviously, is to have every kid back here on campus as soon as possible, but the latest September. So that's what we're working towards. So I know some of you have fielded some questions around, why can't Genesee Valley open up like everybody else? And I'd say everybody else isn't opening up. But when you get those questions, please support us. We'll be happy to respond to them with specific answers. And the number one answer is very simply, we are doing our best to keep kids safe and be as consistent to families as we can. All I've got, folks. Anything from you?
I'd just like to go on record and say that it's nothing against this board, and Dr. Schmidt's done excellent. I know the public's watching it. I'm very disgusted with the officials in this county. I think it's ridiculous that officials can hold that over their head, that parent spectators can't watch their kids play. in a gym with 9 kids on a team, that's 18 parents in a gym that will hold 300 some people. It's just disgusting to me.
I heard that.
And for them officials to hold that over us, as far as I'm concerned, they should get half pay. That's part of their job.
I wouldn't even have, I'd go to the community and get, there's kids that would officiate the games. I wouldn't even have them come in.
I'm glad the kids are playing, don't get me wrong, and I don't want to see them miss out, but for parents live with the kids, so them officials are gonna be subject to the parents anyway, because they're around the kid, and you're 20 foot or further away, so it makes absolutely no sense. And I don't believe we're the only school that the parents are having a problem with this. And I just want to go on record, it ain't us, so people know, it ain't the board or the superintendent or administration. It's the officials in this county, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. When I go to Walmart and see 3 of them officials this weekend shopping.
Understood your frustration. Sure.
And the only other question, as long as we're on there, is the code. Is that gonna be available as soon as possible for these parents and spectators to get on? Because I tried logging in and it says I have to pay and.
Well, that's a great point. We found out, we thought, to be frank, we found out today that we thought it was done already. It wasn't. So we are quickly making sure that code gets out to everyone, because we were under the impression that this had already been.
So it says on our website, all you gotta do is go on there, so I said, okay, it must be the code pops up, and I got on there, ain't no code.
Yeah, the agreement was done this morning, and they said it could take 24 to 48 hours at the max. So I think first game's Wednesday, we should be fine.
And
Is
we
the
will,
first game
we will broadcast that code
info?
every way we can.
It's away.
The first game is away.
I
so
know it's
we're
away,
good.
so
It's
No
not-
more, I think it.
Our first game here is Thursday, Friday,
Thursday.
Thursday and Friday, so we should be good.
Yeah, we'll have it hopefully by tomorrow, but if not, then.
I will say that when you buy, because I bought back during soccer season, I got on that and bought like a 3-year package. And part of that is you can have money donated. So you get a check from them, because you can donate money back to the school in doing so, like you round your bill up or down, and or you make a flat donation, which I did just because. Just to round it up in my checkbook.
Take you to check, Aaron. Take that off the bill when you send that in.
But the nice thing about it is Donnie could watch tennis matches all over the state. And you can actually use, I think coaches will be able to use that to not recruit, but what do I want to scout other teams, because I can watch any game throughout the country that's on at that time. You just look at the schedule and see, I want to watch this game. College, high school, whoever has this system.
Are all the schools in our county, do they have this camera?
Fillmore, Andover,
I think Wellsville has it.
I think Wellsville was getting that, yeah.
I think Bolivar has it too. I honestly don't have it memorized as to who's.
Yeah.
But I know the ones I know. will
A
be
lot of
Michelle.
the little ones, I can't imagine that late still.
But they're talking, that's one of the things, the conversations we were having at the superintendent's level was that they weren't comfortable allowing fans to come in, but that they were going to be.
Doing something, whether it be the
They were
iPod.
going to have either some way to broadcast it. And that was in advance of the conversation with the officials, because there were a number of small districts who struggled. They struggled to have space, and the conversation was, all right, we're going to have just home fans, or we're not going to have any fans. And that led to, there was different decisions that were made between the county schools. Those that could support it were going to support fans, and then the conversations from officials took place.
Gotcha. Anything else? Donnie, do you got anything?
No,
How warm is it today?
80.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't mention it unless I'm asked.
True. It was 9 here this morning.
Yeah, it was 9 here this morning on the way in.
It was 1 at my house this morning, Don, so.
Well, I don't feel it, but I'm keeping track of you guys. You get some wind chills up there. I know it's cold.
All right, if that's it, I will take a motion for adjournment.
Sure.
So moved.
I got Donnie on the motion and Josh on the second.
Maybe I give it to him.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Adjourned at 6:05.
Thank you, Don.
All right, thank you, guys. Have a good week.
Aye.